Chapter 1. Monday, in Between Worlds. Few dare dream of magic and chemistry in the same breath, but Marcus Chen lived them both. Reality fractured around him as he calculated molecular bonds, worlds shifting like broken glass beneath his consciousness. The fluorescent lights of the university chemistry lab dissolved into flickering candlelight. Pencils scratching on paper gave way to distant cattle lowing and his grandfather's cough echoing through thin wooden walls. The world remade itself, as it had every time he'd fallen asleep for 17 years. Marcus woke to chaos, the unpleasant kind.
Told you the barley wouldn't take in that cursed dirt.
And I told you we needed to plant something. We can't eat dirt and wishes.
Well, we're about to find out if we can eat regret.
Baby Kira wailed. She'd inherited her father's talent for perfect timing, followed by 13 pairs of feet shuffling across floorboards that groaned under the weight of too many people trying to exist in a space meant for 5. Marcus rubbed his eyes. The ache of overworked shoulders replaced the phantom memory of holding a pencil. The contrast never got easier. One moment he was Marcus Chen, honor student worried about SAT scores. The next, Marcus of Millhaven, figuring out how to keep his family from starving.
Marcus, get down here before your uncles murder each other over vegetables.
Coming, Da.
The house had been built for one family, maybe 2, in a prosperous year when the gods smiled and the rains came right. But grandfather Aldrich's farm now sheltered 3 generations of desperate souls. 13 people, 40 acres, and every season, less food. Marcus squeezed down the narrow stairs into the main room. His whole family was crammed around 2 mismatched tables pushed together in organized chaos. His mother Elara and Aunt Mira ladled thin porridge from a large pot that had seen better decades, while the children waged war over the heel of yesterday's bread.
Mine. Ugh, you had it yesterday.
Boys, there's enough arguing from the grown-ups. Don't add to it.
There you are. Your father and uncles have been arguing about the crops since before dawn. At this rate, they'll start throwing things.
Marcus accepted his bowl. Definitely smaller portions than last year, he noticed. The part of his mind that automatically calculated caloric intake kicked in. Grandfather Aldrich sat hunched in his chair by the cold hearth, coughing into a rag. Despite his frail appearance, his eyes still held the sharp intelligence that had kept the farm running for 4 decades.
The eastern field's wheat is yellowing again. Same as last year and the year before. The earth itself has given up.
Maybe it has. Grandfather worked this land for 40 years, his father before him. Maybe the soil is tired.
Marcus nearly choked on his porridge, not from the texture, which was charitably enthusiastic. In Chicago, he'd just studied soil depletion. The solution was so obvious it hurt to keep quiet.
What if?
He caught himself. He'd learned to be careful with his strange ideas.
What if what, lad?
What if we tried rotating what we plant in that field?
The table went silent. Even baby Kira stopped fussing. The room held its breath.
Rotating? Boy, we plant what we need to eat. You don't rotate food.
I know, Uncle, but what if we planted beans in that field this season? Beans are good for the soil. They make it stronger. Next year, the wheat would grow better.
Beans don't fill bellies like wheat.
Marcus thought about nitrogen fixation through rhizobia, bacteria being literally the foundation of sustainable agriculture, but that seemed like the sort of information that would get him accused of witchcraft.
But if the wheat grows better because of the beans?
He trailed off, seeing the skepticism around the table.
Where'd you get such strange notions, lad? You been having those odd dreams again?
Before Marcus could explain that his odd dreams were an advanced education in a parallel universe, heavy footsteps thundered on the stairs.
Morning, everyone.
His cousin Tom, Big Tom to everyone, ducked through the doorway, bending nearly in half to avoid adding a head-shaped hole to the struggling architecture. At 17, he was broader than most doorframes and taller than most trees, with innocent good nature that made people trust him.
Tom.
Marcus. The cows are real itchy again. Scratching and scratching. It's bad.
Marcus's pulse quickened. He knew what that was and how to fix it.
Tom, what if we gave them a bath in the pond? Scrubbed them down well?
A bath? For cattle?
The itching. It's probably mites or lice. If we scrub them with soap and dunk them in the pond, it might kill whatever's making them itch.
Soap costs coin we don't have.
We could make soap, wood ash, and fat from the next slaughter. I know how.
He caught himself before saying, "I learned it in chemistry." The family stared at him again with that mix of curiosity and concern that had become familiar. The look people gave when they weren't sure if they were witnessing genius or madness.
Well, if Marcus thinks it'll work, I'm willing to try. Can't hurt to wash the beasts, right? Might improve their smell.
Everything around here could use improved smell.
Waste of time.
But Marcus saw the hope hiding behind his gruff exterior. They were all desperate for anything that might help them survive another year, another season.
You got strange ideas, boy, but these are strange times. Strange times call for creative solutions.
He coughed again, then studied Marcus.
You know, I've been thinking, you're 18 now, Marcus, a man grown.
Marcus's stomach clenched. He knew exactly where this conversation was heading.
Leanna from the bakery's been asking after you. Sweet girl, that one. Smart, too. Marriage? When we can't even feed the mouths we already have?
That's exactly why. Another pair of hands, another family's resources. Liana's father has grain to spare most years. Good connections in the next village over.
The dual-world disorientation crashed over Marcus like a cold wave. In Chicago, his parents wanted him in college, pre-med track, solid grades. Marriage was laughable. But here, marriage wasn't about love, it was about survival.
I'm not ready.
Ready? Boy, you need to marry, Marcus. You're older than me when I married.
The words hit Marcus like a blow. Around the table, faces turned to him. Some hopeful, some resigned, all marked by hunger. Big Tom gave him an encouraging nod.
I'll think about it, grandfather. But first, let me help the cattle and the soil. Let me try to make things better.
Strange ideas, but you have the look of a man with a plan. Very well, boy. Show us these miracles. Just try not to summon any demons while you're at it.
I'll do my best to keep the demonic summoning to a minimum.
The family dispersed for the day's work. Marcus headed for the door. Big Tom fell into step beside him, ducking under every beam and door frame.
Come on then. Let's go look at those cows. Maybe you can figure out what's making them so itchy.
They spent the morning examining the cattle. Marcus tried to get close enough to see the parasites without getting kicked while Big Tom handled the work of restraining them. The sun climbed higher as they hauled water from the well, mixed ash and fat into crude soap, and scrubbed 3 uncooperative cows.
This is harder than I thought.
Everything's harder than you think until you do it. That's what makes it interesting.
By afternoon, they'd treated half the herd. Marcus's shoulders ached, his hands were raw from the rough soap, and his clothes were ruined. But several cattle had already stopped scratching.
It's working. Marcus, you're brilliant.
Evening approached. Marcus helped with the daily chores, feeding chickens, mending fences, hauling more water. The work was exhausting in a way that sitting in a chemistry class never was.
You did good work today, lad. Strange ideas, but good work.
After dinner, Marcus lingered by the dying fire while the family settled in for the night. Using his knife, he carefully shaved thin curls from a piece of dry birch bark, pressing them until he had something that might hold marks. For a writing tool, he mixed ash from the fire with a bit of tree sap, creating a crude pencil. By the dim firelight, he made symbols on the bark paper, his own system using English letters to represent the sounds of Valdris speech. He recorded which cows were washed, which showed signs of parasites, what soap mixture worked best.
No one knows. No one knows I have knowledge from another world, and no one knows how to help me use it.
He tucked the bark papers and his crude pencil into his belongings, then climbed up to his narrow straw mattress. Beside him, Cousin Tam was already asleep. The sounds of the overcrowded house settling in surrounded him. Exhaustion pulled him down into sleep, with the satisfaction that came from a day of physical accomplishment. Tomorrow they'd finish the cattle and maybe start on the eastern field. His thoughts grew fuzzy as sleep claimed him. The last thing he remembered was Big Tom's gentle snoring from across the room.